Good morning. Good morning. Give you all a moment to get on as usual. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to add my new gift. Let me do that. When you pop on, let me know who you are and where you're from. Oops. This is what I get for trying to multitask. I always do this, but whatever. All right. Oops. Okay. It's great. Good morning. Good morning. It's great that I can type comments, but when I'm typing comments, I can't see what's going on. And so, yeah, again, multitasking. I need to just not. Good morning, Dina. All right. So welcome to the Daily Revision Morning Show. My name is Lysandra Everett, and I am your host. I am here Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about various topics. You're going to be hearing a lot more about tax topics because it is tax season. I'm a tax professional and people got tax questions. Okay. So today is Tax Tuesday. Every Thursday is Ecom Thursday, and every Friday is Q&A Friday, where I answer questions that I get throughout the week based on content that I've given for that week. So, as I stated, today is Tax Tuesday, and today we're going to be talking about the A word. The A word meaning audit, okay? Audit is something that really puts the fear of the IRS in people. So I really want to start putting more information out in the marketplace about audits so that people can really feel more informed about what's going on and what their rights are. I got to write a note on here, so I'll make sure I don't forget that. Good morning, Winetta. Okay, so let's get started. All right, as I stated, it's Tax Tuesday, and the A word is audit. All right, now, so what is an audit? Let's talk about it. What is an audit? An audit defined, I like to get my definitions, is an official inspection of an individual's or an organization's accounts to ensure the taxpayers are complying with tax laws and reporting the correct amount of tax income and expenses. So when it comes down to the IRS, they want to audit you. They're saying, we want to take a look at your stuff. Now, what I want to talk about today is the 4 types of audits. 4, okay? And what they are. The first one is a correspondence audit. Now, a correspondence audit, the IRS is going to send you a letter saying that they want more information. For instance, you may have claimed an unusual amount of income, or you might have claimed an unusual expense. They might want to see the documentation for that particular line item. So they'll send you a letter and say, hey, we have a question about your expenses, particularly this expense. Can you send us some documentation? Well, if you've got your stuff together, and you've got your documentation together, you simply make a copy of what they're asking for, send it to them, and then wait and see what else they say. But as long as you have your documentation together, you give them what they ask for, generally, you're going to be fine as long as it's true, ethical, and you have proof of substantiating whatever it is that they're questioning on your return. So that's a correspondence audit where they just send you a letter and say, we want to see something else, okay? The second type of audit is called an office audit. This is when the IRS will send you a letter asking you to come to their office and to, find out more information about something specific. Now, before going to an office audit, you want to be clear about what it is that the IRS wants to know, what they want to know. You want to try and have as much information as possible so that you can be as prepared as possible. All right. So that's number 2, the office audit. Now, number three is a type that most people hear about. It's the field audit. The field audit is when the IRS visits your place of business, whether it's your home or you have a separate business, and they may ask to see other things. So there's really no limit to what it is that they're asking to see. They don't want to limit themselves to a particular item. This is the most comprehensive audit. This is when they come to your office and they're hanging out and they're looking through your stuff and they're asking you for specific documentation and anything like that. Good morning, Keisha. So that's what a field audit is. And that's what, most people hear about and, most people just want to just fall over and die at the thought of a field audit, because the truth is that a field audit can be disruptive, right? You've got IRS people poking around your office, while you're trying to conduct business. And that's really what they're trying to see. They're trying to see not only your records, but how you're conducting your business, even though they might not tell you that. But that's what they really want to see when they come to your place of business, whether it's your home or like I said, or a separate office. They want to see how you're conducting your business. They're asking for your records. So it's not just one thing that they may be looking for, as with the correspondence audit, but with the field audit, there's no limits, okay, to what they might ask for. All right. Now, the fourth type of audit is one most people don't know about. And it's called the Taxpayer Compliance Measurement Program Audit. All right. So with this type of audit, this is a type of audit where the IRS will analyze every single line on your return, and you have to provide documentation for every line item on your return. Now, this is probably the most pain in the butt audit, but the reason for this audit is simply for IRS data and statistics, okay? Currently, this type of audit is suspended. They're not doing these right now. However, it can be reinstated at any time. So that's what it's, the TCMP, I can't be saying all that, Taxpayer Compliant Measurement Program, TCMP. Okay. So, even though, like I said, the IRS are not conducting these types of audits right now, they can be reinstated. And this is where they look on line 2, okay, where you might have, something there, and they say, okay, well, let me see your documentation to substantiate this particular line item. And so that's why it's really the most difficult thing, because it's going line by line by line, where with other audits, they're looking for one specific thing. So let's see how this looks. All right. So let's talk about going back to the top, the correspondence audit. You get a letter in the mail. So you filed your return and you have claimed an expense of $20,000 car expense, right? And so it's taking your business to a substantial loss. Well, the IRS might ask you for documentation to substantiate that $20,000 expense. And then they're also looking at your history to say, okay, does this $20,000 expense make sense? All right. Because when they're looking over your past returns, they're looking to say, okay, does this person have enough income to support a $20,000 expense? And if the answer is no, that's when the IRS is saying something in the milk ain't clean. We'd like to see more. Okay. So, and as long as you can substantiate that, give them exactly what they asked for, then 9 times out of 10, you're okay. But it can also raise other questions. Like I said, if they look at the whole big picture and it doesn't make sense, that might have them to say, okay, we still need more information. So that's a correspondence audit. Okay. The office audit. Now, that's when the IRS says, listen, we want you to come to the office. Okay. Again, like I said, you want to know exactly what it is that they're looking for so you can be prepared. But it might be one of those things that, it could be that they want to talk to you and say, here, let us show you some stuff where you got this wrong so you don't make the same mistake in the future. But usually the IRS is not that helpful. Okay. I'm a tax preparer. I'm telling you, the IRS is just not that helpful. All right. They trying to get their money is what they're trying to do. Okay. I am not, and let me say this too, I am not trying to scare anyone when it comes down to the audit process or the IRS process. What I'm here to do is make you more knowledgeable, because knowledge is the beginning of power. Power is applying the knowledge that you learn. So if you learn something from me today about audits and you go back and prepare yourself in the event that this happens, that is what makes you powerful. Now, again, the field audit says, okay, we need to see everything, because something in this is not making sense. So this one, they want to come to your office and they want to see every little thing. And there is no limit to what they might be asking for. Okay. Now, the one thing that you have to know about the audit process is that you can have representation. You don't have to go through an audit process alone. So what does that mean? Now, let's say you go to, I don't know, pick a tax franchise or someone who is an unenrolled tax preparer, okay? This is someone who has a preparer tax ID number and, they've prepared your taxes, okay? They haven't done anything funky or whatever, okay? But that particular tax preparer, like if you go to a tax franchise and they do your taxes, well, that particular tax preparer can only represent you on that specific return that they prepared. They can't help you with any other tax issues on previous years. Now, if you get representation like with a CPA or an enrolled agent or a tax attorney, they can help you with all of your tax years, okay, whether they prepared the returns or not. So if you, in the event that you get audited, you don't have to go through this alone. You can hire representation. You can hire the tax attorney, the enrolled agent, the CPA to help you get through the audit process and deal with the IRS. Because here's the deal. When you, the taxpayer, are dealing with the IRS, you are not a specialist on tax law. That's just not what you do. If you did, then you would be the CPA, the enrolled agent, or the tax attorney, right? But that's not what you do. So then that's why you go and get representation. You hire someone to help you through the audit process. And, you can have that person, instead of you going to the IRS office, you can hire that person to go and deal with the IRS agent as well. So, in your place, you have to, there are some forms and stuff that you have to fill out, but just know that you can. So when it comes down to getting audited, the first thing that you want to do really is that you don't want to act like you never heard from the IRS. Do not ignore the IRS. That will land you in lots of hot water. But you definitely want to keep in touch with the IRS, but know that you can also hire representation to help you throughout the process because sometimes the IRS is just too much. They just doing too much. Okay. So, so that's it with audits, guys. Nuts and bolts is, anybody could get audited. Okay. Really, anybody could get audited for whatever reason. All right. And as a matter of fact, if you join us on the Winning Women Network midday activation call, I'm going to discuss 7 common audit triggers for the IRS. So you can join us on that call at noon Eastern time. That number is 425-209-1919. And so I'm going to be talking about that today on the call, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. But with the audit process, it's all about being prepared. The best defense for, against an audit is documentation. As long as you have the proper documentation to substantiate whatever it is you claimed, then your life is good. This is why, listen to me. People talk about how long do you keep your tax stuff? Okay. The rule of thumb is 3 years. For your personal stuff, 7 years for business. Lysandra's rule of thumb is keep it until you die. Okay. Because here's why. Because if the IRS claims that you filed a fraudulent return, okay, they understand this. When it comes down to the IRS, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent, okay? So let's say the IRS says you filed a fraudulent return 8 years ago. Okay, you said, well, 7 years, I threw my stuff away. Well, unless you have the documentation to prove that you did not file a fraudulent return, you are then guilty. There is no statute of limitations on a fraudulent return, okay? So this is why I say keep your tax returns, your tax information until you die. That's just me. And yes, I do. I have all of my stuff from tax return number 1. Okay. So, so when it comes down to the audit process, it's having the proper documentation to support everything, even your health care. Like right now, and unless something changes, you're either going to get a 1095A, B, or C that supports you having health care. Okay. So those are the things that you have to keep. You don't have to submit those to the IRS, but that's documentation that you keep. So 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, somebody says, okay, well, you said here that you had health care at this particular time. Can we see some documentation? If you've got documentation to support that you had health care, fantastic. But if you didn't, and you should have paid a penalty, right? If you should have paid a penalty for that, then guess what? You owe, right? So that's what I'm saying. So I have what I call a healthy fear, a healthy respect for the IRS and the long-reaching arm of the IRS. And, just to protect ourselves, because again, it's going to be up to you to prove yourself innocent because they are saying that you're guilty. Okay. So I really hope you learned something about audits. If you got some good value from that, make sure you share this out. Make sure you hit my live notifications so you don't miss anything. Like I said, every Tuesday is Tax Tuesday. So if you like my tax stuff, then come back every Tuesday. And you might actually start hearing some more because I'm starting to get a lot of tax questions. And yeah, I might have to have another day of tax questions. So I don't know. But anywho, that's it for me today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.